Have you been tracking your car and looking to kind of improve your lap times, or to see how you're doing, what part of the track you're slow, or maybe giving up time, or you have some unexplainable stuff maybe related to temperatures, maybe coolant temps, oil temps, intake air temps, or you're just a data nerd that wants to collect all kinds of random information just for shits and giggles. Do you want to do all that and spend less than $400? Well, you're in the right video. Let me show you what you need to do first, what you need to buy to be able to have just a good basic setup where you can collect coolant temps, oil temps, and intake air temps, your lap times, G-forces, accurate GPS. That way you can have a much better experience on track. You can drive more consistently and kind of keep on getting better. By collecting all this information, you can take advantage of coaching a little bit better. If you have better GPS data, better lap times, any kind of like throttle inputs, if you can see all that stuff, the RPMs, when someone is coaching you, they can use all that stuff to coach you a little bit better. Or you can coach yourself. I'm going to have links to everything below in the description. They're going to be Amazon affiliate links. They support me directly. Let's go inside and I'm going to kind of go over some of the stuff that you need to buy to get started. So assuming you already have an Android or an iPhone, first step is to go to your dedicated app store and download Race Chrono Pro. You might ask, why Race Chrono Pro? My buddy uses Track Addict or Hare's Lap Timer or whatever app you want to use. I personally use Race Chrono Pro. I used to use Track Addict and it was fine for the most part, but once I bought the external GPS that I have, Race Chrono Pro had much better support for that, and it gets updated more often than Track Addict. Track Addict seems to be like a pretty stale project. They're not like actively maintaining it. So I decided to just pay the $20 or so and get it. And I don't regret it. I've enjoyed using it every time, and it's been pretty reliable. I'm personally kind of scratching the surface of Race Chrono Pro. There's a lot of good documentations and guides on how to do stuff. If you are an experienced Race Chrono Pro user, where you do a lot more advanced stuff, I would love to learn more. Be sure to leave a comment or DM me on Instagram. Would love to learn more about how to extract more data, or use its potential to its limits. So by having Race Chrono Pro alone, you can use your phone's GPS to kind of track of your lap times, and that's pretty good for the most part. I've had issues where in the past with Track Addict, my previous Bluetooth GPS sometimes wouldn't connect, so I would just have my phone's GPS. It's not super accurate if you want to like zoom in to see where you're on the track, because the phone's GPS updates once a second. It's at 1 hertz. You can do the math, but if you're moving at 100 miles per hour and if your location is being updated once a second, you can definitely have gaps in there of like, I don't know, 50, 60, 100 feet maybe of gaps of like just nothing. So it'll just try to extrapolate between to guess where you are. So like I said, your phone's GPS is 1 hertz, and any experienced tracked person is probably going to be making fun of you, saying that, oh, you're not going to have accurate GPS. My AIM Solo has 10 hertz. My Garmin has 10 hertz GPS. But don't worry, we can do even better in the GPS end. I introduce you to Racebox Mini. This little device has been awesome. This is a 25 hertz external GPS with accelerometer and all the G data that you want. It uses, I think, Bluetooth Low Energy, Bluetooth 5.2, I think. And this will give you accurate GPS. Highest resolution, it can guess like 8 to 10 inches of where you are on track, which is very helpful if you're like trying different lines to see where you are. You usually want to like mount it at the center of the car, like center line of the car, and then you go and try to calibrate it. You do some accelerations and some turns, and after that it's all set. And I got this in a Kickstarter, I think, and yeah, it's been awesome. When it arrived, I used it first time at NJMP. Great GPS data, super reliable. You don't have to mess around with it. The battery lasts a while. USB-C charges with like a regular phone charger. On the way to track, you can plug in your USB-C. It'll be fully charged by the time you get there, and it'll last you the whole weekend and the weekend after that, and probably the weekend after that too. This again works out of the box with Race Chrono Pro. Harry's Lap Timer also supports this. This with a Bluetooth Low Energy device, you don't necessarily turn it on and pair it. It's always on. So once you kind of pair it once, it will kind of work. You have to download the Racebox app, and once you download it, you can kind of kind of set it up and do the calibration, like I said. But after that, don't use the Racebox app. You can do some like 0 to 60 timing, like some drag racing stuff, and then it does have circuit like track lap timer, but it's not as good as the other apps. So I would highly just recommend just sticking to Race Chrono Pro. Since there's direct support for this, all the accelerometer data just shows up. So how many G-forces you have on the Y-axis, X-axis, and the Z-axis. It also shows you the kind of like the rate of kind of rotation on each angle. So you can see like how your car is leaning down, how much it's rolling, how much it's squatting, and all the different things. So it's like all those different things are provided by this. Again, like I said, it also shows the rate. So if you're maybe drifting, or you're just like trying to see how your car rotates around the corner, you can kind of map it over a session to see like how is your rotation, what's the rate of your rotation. You can kind of extrapolate all kinds of different data. It's very powerful. It's way more data than I've been able to use, but I try to use some of that to kind of figure out what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and everything. So at this point, you have kind of most of what Garmin Catalyst has, minus the annoying AI and the kind of the leaderboard with your friends. You have very accurate GPS and speed data. GPS data is much better than your car's like speedometer, especially if you're running different diameter wheels and tires. All that stuff will be off. So it's much better to rely on GPS speed. That way you're consistent across your setup. You might be changing wheels, tires, it won't matter. So that way you can get coached using all of the data. That way you can be like, oh, I exited the corner 2 miles per hour faster, and my top speed was this much faster, and this is the kind of the lap time. That's how many tenths I gained and everything. So you can use all that to coach yourself or get coached by a pro. And now let's say you want to step it up a little bit and you want to see, hey, like when do I get on the throttle? What are my RPMs? What RPM am I shifting at? If you want to have all that information, now you need to plug into your OBD2 port. For that, you need an OBD2 dongle, and I use OBDLink MX. This is a really nice quality little OBD dongle and has pretty good high rate of data, and has support for, of course, a lot of OBD2 cars, and you can download different plugins for it on their own app. But since it being a standard OBD2 dongle, it works with Race Chrono Pro as well. I also use this on my Track Addict setup. It worked great. Worked on my Mustang, Veloster, and now the Elantra. Probably logged more than 300 laps and runs. It's just been rock solid. Very happy with it. The data rates might not be as high as a CAN bus connection, but of course, with the Hyundai ECUs, it's hard to tap into the CAN bus without reverse engineering a few channels. But it's good enough. The rates are good enough to be able to determine if you have heat soak, or if you're having issues, or you just can't diagnose stuff. You want to provide something to your tuner. Perfect for that. Now let's move on to setup. This video assumes that you have some kind of a video setup, camera setup. This one is like kind of flexible on how you want to do it. You want to mount it on your windshield, on your sunroof if you have it, or your helmet. Obviously, I prefer to have it on a helmet. That way, as someone who's watching your video, or if I'm coaching you or providing information or data, it's much better if I can see your steering wheel, how your inputs are, how smooth you are, how rough you are. I can see all that, and I can see your pedals and how like your body language when you're driving the car. I'm just going to assume that you have already figured that out. So now let's go down to my car and go through some of the setup of like how some of the stuff works. I'm back on the couch because I just went for a drive to show how I'm recording the video and how I'm recording the data. All right, so I am going to go over on how setup works from when you're in the car. So I have my OBD2 dongle already plugged in to the OBD2 port. With the Race Chrono Pro, when you start it, this is kind of the main display. You'll probably create an account. And after that, I would highly recommend creating a vehicle profile. You can add a new one, add all the information, and then kind of save it. I have a Hyundai Elantra N1, just put the model number. I'll go through the rest of it later. Then you can add your GPS receiver. By default, you can of course use your phone, but it's much better to use like an external GPS, like the Racebox Mini. There's a Mini S as well. I don't remember what extra thing it does. I think it has a bigger battery or something. I don't remember. And there's the OBDLink MX. If you want to pair a new one, you select it from here with the GPS as well. And then the internal camera, I have it enabled, but I don't use it, so I usually disable it. But you can pair a GoPro to kind of record it when you start moving. And then there's your units and everything, and there's some expert settings into some detailed stuff like experimental devices if you want to use it with Assetto Corsa, and a few other things. There's again Assetto Corsa related things, some maps platform and Bluetooth things and no data. So there's like ignore PID capabilities, ignore no data, unrestricted PIDs, so you can like have a lot more PIDs that you can have access to. Yeah, a lot of details, the camera APIs and everything else for Android. So as soon as you press start, this will communicate with the GPS, create a new track, and it's connecting to the GPS right now. So it's going to wait for that to happen. There you go. So we have a blue light, and you can see we have some GPS information already. And then accelerometer data, here you can see moving around. You can see it's like updating pretty fast. A lot of that stuff happens at like 25 Hertz, I think. And then this is all kind of the OBD2 data where you can drive around and it will change. So we'll leave my phone in here, and we'll drive around. I will kind of put it into N mode and put the N mode display. That way you can see some of the temperatures. So here we have the engine temp, the turbo PSI here. We can change some stuff here, so we don't need a lap timer. So let's put it into park. And instead of the lap timer, let's just put the oil temp in there. Here we go. So I customized it. So now let's go for a small drive. So we can go. Right now here you can see we don't have a start and end line. So this is a new track. This is the second time I'm doing it because the first time it did not focus on me. This time I changed the camera angle, put it into the sunroof. That way we can use a different angle. So I'm going to mark this spot as the start and finish. So we'll see. I don't know why it's not letting me. Oh, it says no fixed satellites. So maybe I need to put the GPS on with facing the sky. There you go. So we have some satellites, so we can do start finish. So this is going to be the start and finish. I'm just going to be like driving in circles around my house, and as you can see, it shows you your speed, kind of like your lap time. And since we kind of crossed the finish line, hypothetical one, it is going to be kind of measuring that, and yeah. So we kind of go around here. And if you go all the way, it'll show your GPS, and you can also enable camera. Since I disabled the camera, it's not using it. So if you scroll to the left, it will record video. So now we're gonna soon cross over the fake start and finish line that we set, and it should hopefully. You can see it already marked our first lap as the best, 54.7. So we have like, it'll show you the delta of like speed, how much faster you're going. So I'm like driving, 2 miles per hour, slightly faster there, same speed as before. It's a residential area, so I'm trying not to go over 15 miles per hour for obvious reasons. And here we go. I did a full stop at the stop sign, and you can see I lost some time there. So here you go. It's showing one. We're gonna beat our time by close to 2 seconds. Let's see. Here we go. Let's go. Here we go. 52.1. So yeah. So this is what I wanted to show. It's super simple. Again, a Racebox Mini, OBDLink MX. And then a phone. That's it. And then ideally a camera. A camera helps. So yeah, this is it. Let's go back in, and I'll talk about showing some extra bits. So now you've like waited until this point and you've seen some of the stuff. You've been like, hey, I have the OBD2 stuff, I have the GPS, I have the camera, all that stuff is ready to go. Fine, I got the Race Chrono Pro as well. But how do you get the oil temperature? How do you get the tire pressure, tire temperature? Well, thanks for watching all the way to this point. Let me open Race Chrono Pro again, and I will start recording my screen. So inside Race Chrono, you'll go to settings and you'll go to vehicle profiles. In here, you have some like OBD2 related things in here. So we have kind of like our fast channels and then the slow channels. And then there's a default OBD2 header. A lot of these are kind of like a low level OBD2 stuff. If you're a pro at that, you can kind of test out different things here. And here in the fast channels, I have picked engine RPM, manifold pressure, speed, and throttle. Those are going to be kind of the fast channels that's going to be pulled from the OBD2 dongle. And the slow ones are going to be just as obviously these are going to be slow. So these are going to be the temperatures, the oil, coolant, intake temps. Those don't change as fast as speed or RPM. So there's no need to transmit so much data for kind of like slow moving data. But you can always put them in the fast channels as well. And once you have your connection, you can always test it out. So you can just say, hey, test it out. Here you can see it is connected because the car is probably still running. But here you can see some of the channels. So in here you can turn on the standard OBD2 channel. These come kind of for free with a lot of these. Car is off right now, so I don't think it's going to be transmitting anything. Car's in the garage, so I don't think it's going to do anything. So I'm going to kind of terminate the connection for now, but you can monitor all that. And if you want to add a custom channel, usually you need to have, you need to pick an existing channel or like an existing label for it. And then you can add the kind of the postfix, and then the OBD header, response prefix, and then the PID. The PID is the most important of like what channel are you going to be looking at, and then the equation as well. So here for the engine oil temperature, I'm looking at the PID of like 22E001. So, and I'm doing a bytes to uint, and this is pretty much the calculation. And I got this in a GitHub repo, and also there's an N forum. There's a general N cars forum, I think. And there was some information about this there. So I pulled it from there. There's a lot more stuff in there that you can use, which I didn't, but you can add more channels in here. So you can hear the bytes to uint raw, and it will kind of do the conversion. So in here you can see I'm multiplying it by certain values to get a kind of like a Fahrenheit value in the end. And the tire pressures are the same. In here, we're looking at the different byte offsets and everything to get this one is like 5 and 1. This one is 10 and 1. This one's 15 and 1, 20 and 1, temperature 10 and 1. So here you can see like all the different values, and then these will get pretty much recorded. So again, this is the oil temperatures, and that's pretty much how it works. And yeah, I would like to kind of wrap up this video. This stuff, you can go super nerdy and super crazy about it. Obviously, it is the best if you have some CAN bus connection and get a lot of the stuff from the CAN bus, which Race Chrono also supports. You can get stuff from the CAN bus. You just need to know which channels to look at and how to kind of reverse engineer them. So far I have not figured out. If people can figure out how to do the brake pressure, oil temps, and all the throttle and the throttle position and everything, steering, it would be nice to have all that stuff. That way you can overlay your steering input. That way you can just like maybe mount your camera to the dash, then we could kind of see your steering that way. So, and also, I'm not tracking the car, so I'm going to be kind of hopefully handing this information to all of you all to test out and figure things out. So if you find any new channels or any new developments, let me know. The oil temperature channel is for the Elantra N, the 2022, 2023, and 2024. I don't think it's going to work on the Veloster or the Kona. So you will have to kind of play around and find the channels for those cars. Just look it up online. I don't know, there's not a lot of information out there. So yeah. And if you have any other questions, if you have questions about setup, or if you need help to go faster on track, just let me know. I can help you. So thank you for watching. Check.